Hello, people of YouTube. It's Brittany in her goddess energy everywhere on the line. um, I did this the last time with my channel, but it might not seem that way. But here I go doing it again. That I'm making the videos that I wished were in existence, that would have been helpful to me or would be helpful to me. So that's what I'm going for. So topic of the moment is choosing your decks. If you're not making decks, or you're not in that realm of space, mind, or not interested in that, how is it that people choose decks? And my first decks, I was just moved. I knew I didn't want to go to the Christian Bible store. I already had a Bible. Like, there were already multiple Bibles in the house. I just knew I needed to go to the spiritual store. And in the spiritual store, I got my first decks that I couldn't really choose one. So I got Mother Peace and I got Radiant Rider-Waite deck. And Mother Peace was really the main one that I worked with for the longest. When people say like they don't resonate with a deck, usually it means that they pull a card and it's just like, you don't know what the heck that means. That's what do not resonate means. Either you look at the pictures and you're just like, I'm just appalled. I'm appalled with the imagery, or I get nothing from this. There's no spontaneous inclinations from the deck. When a deck is like really aligned with you, whether it's by timing or you just chose the right deck for you, you can pull any card and get something. Whether you know what it means, you can parse through the meaning, or immediately you see the image and it's like it correlates with what's going on. Or if your sensitivity is up, which the times have been moving along, so psychically sensitive people are increasing. The amount of people that are sensitive and the sensitivity level. I've been saying everybody's going to be like this, but again, you might hear something, see something in your mind's eyeball. That's another way. Some people choose decks based off a theme. They might have a certain aesthetic. So if they are more like a garden witchery, nature witchery kind of person, and they're going to be working with other people or doing videos, something in public, then they might only choose like really flowery, like botanical based decks. If you know that you love fairies, mermaids, you love dragons, then that might be the theme you go on. I really had no idea. So after those first two decks, as I was trying to learn, because then I was hearing from other people that were saying a round deck is hard to work with. Like, I hadn't considered that. I hadn't considered that at all. But okay. And the mother piece is kind of hard. I'm I wouldn't agree. And Vicky Noble had even said that if you buy the guidebook that goes with Mother Piece, if you feel inclined to get that deck, um, she had even said like maybe in the beginning you have a hard time shuffling around deck, but if you start by just swiffling them around on the floor or on your table, and you start that way, then you can start shuffling over time. It just you work it out, and it's really not difficult. Um, anyway, moving from those two decks, I I didn't move in a consciously intentional way. I was looking for people to learn from about how to figure out these cards, and not necessarily with the same deck, just tarot in general. So through that, I'd see a lot of different cards, and just what cards I'd see, and just like, oh, I got to have them. Those would be the decks. Sometimes really popular, sometimes not so much. I wasn't considering what people would think of my cards, if they would think they're scary cards, or wonder like, what is she into, whatever. I didn't really think about that, because initially I wasn't thinking of working with other people with tarot. It's weird that I didn't think that was a thing when I had seen the movie Ghost. She didn't have cards out in in that movie, but I had seen that movie. I had seen stores with the hand and went, that's palmistry, but which I read a book on when I was little. I don't know why I didn't think it was a thing. Maybe because it's like modern times. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I hadn't really considered. And interestingly enough, in my work, no, I never read for someone and someone was just like, what kind of cards are those? I never. Um, so I would. It's hard to say. I think it depends on what you're trying to do. Whether you're building a brand and you're a reader. Because the thing is, and this is some design advice, it's like, from my mother, that she says if you pick what you like, it'll all go together. And initially, it can seem like not. When you're decorating your space, if you just grab whatever you like, maybe at first it doesn't seem to go together, but if you really get what you want, then a vision, you start to see a pattern of what you're into. And I noticed with my decks that it's like, they're books. They're books. I've said on my Venable account that these are like my Bibles. So I'm learning it with them. Every deck, I have to be able to further my mind. There's some study taking place. It's also safe space for me because these are my parameters. I'm working within these parameters. So if I see this card, one card, that's as far as things can go, is within the realm of potential in that card. I pull a few, that's the realm of those few cards. And I allow my mind to be free within those limitations. It's not just called think anything willy-nilly. And that's how people end up having trouble. When people are thinking all sorts of wildness, that's why they don't trust themselves, because they're just like, I could be thinking anything. It could be totally off the charts and not be correct at all for my situation. And I would say that's right. There is, your thoughts are coming from somewhere and they're attached to something, but it could be based off of past experiences. It could be based off of fear. It could be based off of what other people have said. It could be a projection that you're receiving. It could be a reflection of your environment. So when you work with a deck, that's a way to narrow the thinking. And people that are already narrow in their thinking can experience an expansion by looking at different decks, especially the decks that maybe a person got because maybe they're popular, or it's a certain theme. Maybe they saw a couple cards and they got that deck, and then they get the deck and they're looking at the cards and there's a particular card or a few cards that they're just like, oh, why? Why did they do that? Like, what kind of choice? What reason did they choose this imagery? I just don't like it. Looking at it anyway can help you to figure out what is the problem, how to get through it, and do you want to get through it, or is this one of those hard edges for you? Kind of early in the journey, because this was before I read for anyone else in the public or personal readings. Early in my journey, there was a fellow, brown-skinned girl, and super spiritual, super in tune. Her readings were on point, fire. Really long, excellent readings on YouTube. This was years ago, so I'm sorry I can't shout her out. But if I run across her channel again, if the algorithm recognizes who I'm speaking about and sends another video my way, if she's still online, I'll comment or something. If the reading doesn't expose me too bad or something. But anyway, yeah, her readings were really on point. But what I loved was, even though she's a Black girl and she's very spiritual, religious, what have you, she worked with decks that had white people on them. And at that time, it was like a sweeping scene of, like, Black people gotta work with the Black people decks. We gotta find them. And I still am in a frame of mind where that is important. It's just, it doesn't make no sense. Why is it that there can be whites only decks, and then there's diverse decks, and then there's very few brown people only decks. Very few. Like, do black people just not make art? No, that's not true. There are lots of black artists, black visual artists, digital artists, painters, pen and pencil artists. There's plenty. I think the combination of like religious issues plus artist issues, it's a big deal to be a brown person and an artist. It's hard to be a black musician. It's hard to be a black illustrator. So the first hurdle is doing the art, accepting yourself, and making yourself known. And then the other thing is our spiritual, religious beliefs. If you feel like the tarot is bad, or you were taught that the tarot is bad, then you're not going to want to make tarot cards. You're not going to want to make oracle cards. So that's an issue. But I think it's an issue for melanated people to not see melanated angels. And I try to not make it such a habit of like, let me just sit here and complain without doing anything. I really try not to do that. Because lots of people do. And I'm going to point this out, that like people will have no problem complaining about, for example, the music or the movies that are out now. And it's just like, if you really are complaining, make music, make movies, do the thing that you feel there's a lack, where there's a lacking area, fill it. If you think that there should be better, then you know exactly what needs to be improved. Do it. One, you'll see how hard it is. You'll witness the challenges. You're going to learn some things, but also wonderfully you will feel the need. There have been multiple times in my life where I was busy complaining about something or thinking about a lack and just hoping, just wishing, waiting for a person to fix it. There's somebody got to come up with this idea. Somebody got to do this. And I could tell I was just like sending the thought ray. Sending the thought rays out into the ether. Somebody do it, please. But again, as for myself, I'm trying to learn the things, do the things myself if I feel a prompting or see the need. And I suggest that to others also. So that's where the whole, maybe I'll make a deck came from. It was me wanting something else, something more, and trying to figure out how to do it. So I'm still working stuff out. And so when I encounter somebody trying to compete with me, I'm just like, I think great. It's just like, do the thing. I wouldn't be trying to do the thing if you had done the thing already. If you do the thing, I could buy it from you. I'm not competing with you. I'm not fighting with you. But some people feel that way. I'm even that way with crochet. I'm like, this is not a showdown. If I make a thing and you think it's fantastic, like freaking clap me up. Like, I did great. Clap me up. Uh, and I enjoy other people's stuff. If I look in your direction, I'm not hating and I'm not trying to copy. I'm just saying, hey, great job. I'm looking, I see you. But anyway, yeah, there's room for everybody and all the things. So my point in how to choose your decks, pick what you like. Don't fret too much about what's trending at the moment. Because if you're new to the cards, then you don't know why it's trending. It could be the artist. It could be like a tarot influencer or a couple tarot influencers that are kind of making a deck pop at the moment. But you're not really going to know until you get in the thick of the tarot winds. And once you get caught up in collecting, and I won't say once you do, because not everyone will. Some people will get one deck and they call it a day. That's a lifetime deck. Or they get a few decks and then they narrow it back down. Maybe they only use a few. But it's something that you figure out, and there's no way around figuring it out. So figure it comfortably. There's a lot of strong opinions in tarot. And it's good or bad depending on your state of mind. Maybe you need some structure and that helps you to feel better because it's just like, this is the way. But also, no matter what the rules are, it's just like you can come across somebody else and they've got a different batch of rules and they feel really strongly about those. You could get one book and it has some rules and another book with another set of rules. But the process is about realizing what's going to be your set of rules, how things are for you. It's like, it's your own religion, your religion within the religion, and you can still maintain another religion if you want to. But this is one of those things that I really love about tarot. I love that I can learn something to apply to my card reading by listening to astrologers. I can learn something from numerologists. I can learn something from listening to people talk about colors, color theory and such. So that really helps me. So if you're stepping away from religion or doing something different spiritually, tarot can be a baseline for you to always come back to. It's not just fortune telling. It can be. It very well can be. Or it could be your baseline for your spell work if you're a witchy variety. It can be a baseline for your religious studies. It can be a way to validate information if you're if you're into research and you're into looking at ancient history, you're into looking up stuff that you couldn't know. Like, you can't know. Other people don't really know, but there's some kind of trail that you're following. To validate yourself, you can work with tarot. This is another reason why I was feeling a need for more decks. I'm just like, where are all the freaking, like, archaeology decks? Where's the geology decks? The bones decks? Like, where are these decks? Like, what? So I could sit and, like, find some artists to complain to, or I could freaking get to working. And I think that's probably why, like, just me, personal side note, why I kind of looked over, it slid over to the comics, because comic book artists are people that draw. And comics, to me, I mean, it's like, this is no disrespect whatsoever, but I've like the Peanuts, like Charlie Brown and whatnot. So I thought that comics are like simple drawings, like Bart Simpson and them. Like, so I'm like, about how long did it take you to, like, learn how to draw? Well, how long? Like my whole life. There's people are just like I always drawn. I'm like, well, like, I draw for fun. Like, well, I can't imagine that. Like, how can I make this fun? Like, because right now, it's not feeling fun. Like, I'm not very happy with these pictures. I'm trying to draw better. How do I draw better? And they're just like, just keep drawing. And if you like drawing, you'll keep drawing. And even if you don't like drawing, draw anyway. And your drawings will get better. I'm like, well, I think about reading cards. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. I didn't just flip open a deck and yay, I know exactly what they mean. This has been a lot. This has been years. I'm now sitting here and I'm like, I know some people don't feel okay reading for other people or talking about tarot in public, and they've been reading the cards for 20, 30, 40 years. But for me, it was only like, I'd say like 2, 3 years before I read for other people, like 2 years before I was like doing stuff in public, and 3 years I was working in the field. And now I've been reading cards for over 10 years. And I know some people would be like, just shut your mouth, Brittany. You don't read cards, you're just psychic. You don't read cards. My answer is, I full well read cards. I have assistants, and I have never been quiet about that. But do I also work really hard to understand things? Yes. Because times when I've heard something and I didn't know what it meant, to look it up and it correlates with the card was validation for me. So then it's just like, okay, so I can trust when I hear something and I've pulled a card because I know it's legit. So I can go ahead and look it up or follow through with whatever I need to follow through with. Sometimes I don't even need to look it up. Sometimes I'm just channeling some information so I can get to my keyboard and get to typing. And I don't have to worry about it. I don't worry about it when somewhere someone on my feed has a disagreement and they want to talk about how wrong I am. I don't care because I know I'm right. It's not really about me being right so much as me knowing the information is right and the information happened to come through me. And that's the thing about disagreement. If somebody disagrees with everything that you say, they just don't like you because the likelihood that you were just always wrong is like so low. So no, that's not it. Person just mad. And when it comes to always being right, I tell people that it's like reading. This is kind of collaborative because I'm I'm calibrating to you, and anything that could potentially be off, I need to know in what way was it off, what part was off, or in what way, so that I can see what it is that I was focusing on. Because that tells me what direction I was looking in or the way that I see it. And that's why you felt that it was wrong. Like, oh, I hurt your feelings because I was looking at it a certain way. And that's just from my upbringing or the way that I see things. I didn't mean to be rude. But let me try again. Let me rephrase that. Because anybody that I've been working with, I didn't mean no disrespect. That's never what I'm trying to do. Just piss off the people that have paid money to speak to me. Like, no, never. Like, no, why would I try to hurt your feelings? No, that's not what I'm trying to do. But anyway, yeah, that's a way to be off. And also, I'll say this for public reading because I was talking about choosing decks, and some people will want to read in public. You're pointing. Some like if you like to do love readings, if you are focused on money readings or career readings, if you're looking for happy news or you're looking for the drama, you're looking for the tea, the shade, that's going to come through in your reads. And that's something that you don't really, you might think that you're trying to do one thing and what comes through is something else. So you got to be willing to move with that. Be open to the revealing of what you're into and what you do best. So yeah, and that's about all I have to say about that. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. I'm sending lots of love your way on the journey, and I'll see you in the next one.